What if you discovered you were destined to save an entire world? Imagine the weight of that revelation crushing down upon you, shattering everything you thought you knew about yourself. For Aragorn, son of Arathorn, this wasn't just a hypothetical scenario. At age 20, his true identity was unveiled, thrusting him from a life of relative obscurity into a destiny that would shape the fate of Middle-earth. How did this moment of truth transform the Ranger into the king we know from The Lord of the Rings? Greetings, fellow seekers of Middle-earth's hidden tales. Today we unravel the mystery of Aragorn's early years, a story shrouded in secrecy and shadowed by looming threats. Imagine a world where even your true name is kept from you, where your destiny lies concealed behind a veil of elven magic and ancient wisdom. In the year 2931 of the Third Age, as darkness began to stir once more in the east, a child was born who would one day challenge that encroaching gloom. Aragorn, son of Arathorn, entered a world fraught with danger. The blood of Isildur flowed through his veins, a heritage that marked him as both a beacon of hope and a target for the enemy's malice. But why conceal the identity of this noble heir? The answer lies in the growing power of Sauron, the Dark Lord of Mordor. Though not yet revealed in his full strength, Sauron's influence spread like a creeping shadow. His servants sought tirelessly for any trace of Isildur's lineage, knowing that in this bloodline lay the greatest threat to their master's dominion. And so, under the watchful eyes of Lord Elrond, the child Aragorn was given a new name, Estel, meaning hope in the Sindarin tongue. For 20 years, he grew in the sheltered valley of Rivendell, unaware of the weight of destiny that lay upon his shoulders. Can you picture this young man raised among the immortal elves, learning their lore and language, yet always sensing a difference he could not quite name? Life in Rivendell for young Estel was a blend of serenity and hidden purpose. He walked among the ancient trees, listened to the music of waterfalls, and absorbed the wisdom of ages from Elrond and his household. Yet even in this idyllic setting, there was always a sense of preparation, of being shaped for some greater purpose. Elrond, keeper of one of the 3 elven rings of power, took on the role of foster father to Aragorn with grave responsibility. He saw in this child not just the heir of his brother Elros, first king of Numenor, but a final hope for the reunification of the sundered realms of men. Elrond's guidance was both gentle and firm, nurturing the qualities of leadership, wisdom, and compassion that would one day define Aragorn's rule. As Estel approached his 20th year, a palpable tension began to build in Rivendell. The time of revelation drew near, and with it, a moment that would forever change the course of Middle-earth's history. Can you feel the weight of that impending truth, the trembling anticipation of a destiny about to unfold? On his 20th birthday, Elrond at last revealed to Aragorn his true name and lineage. Imagine the shock, the sudden burden of knowledge, as Estel learned he was, in fact, Aragorn, son of Arathorn, heir of Isildur and rightful claimant to the thrones of both Gondor and Arnor. In that moment, the carefree days of youth fell away, replaced by the solemn duty of his bloodline. With this revelation came gifts of great significance, the shards of Narsil, the sword that cut the One Ring from Sauron's hand, and the Ring of Barahir, an heirloom of his house. These tokens of his heritage served as physical reminders of the monumental task that lay before him. As our tale of the Hidden Prince draws to a close, we stand with Aragorn at the threshold of a new chapter. The weight of an ancient legacy now rests upon his shoulders. How will this revelation shape his path forward? What challenges await as he steps out of the shelter of Rivendell and into the wider world of Middle-earth? Join us in our next chapter as we follow Aragorn's first steps on the long road from Ranger to King. As we continue our journey through the life of Aragorn, we come upon an artifact of immense significance, a weapon that carries the weight of an entire age. What power could a shattered blade hold, and how might it shape the fate of Middle-earth? The answer lies in the story of Narsil, a sword that once changed the course of history and may do so again. Narsil, the Sword of Elendil, is no ordinary weapon. Forged in the depths of the First Age, it became a symbol of kingship and the rightful claim to the throne of Gondor. Its legendary status was cemented during the War of the Last Alliance, when Isildur used it to cut the One Ring from Sauron's hand. Can you imagine the moment? The clash of steel, the fall of the Dark Lord, and the birth of a new hope for Middle-earth, all pivoting on the edge of this remarkable blade. But with great triumphs often come great sacrifices. In that same battle, Narsil was shattered, its broken shards becoming a poignant reminder of the fragility of victory. This moment marked not only the physical breaking of a sword, but also symbolized the scattering of the Dunedain and the fading glory of the line of kings. For centuries, the pieces of Narsil lay waiting, a tangible link to a noble past and a promise of future restoration. Now picture the moment when Elrond presents these hallowed shards to Aragorn. The weight of history, the expectations of an entire people, and the daunting legacy of Isildur all converge in this singular instant. As Aragorn's hands close around the fragments of Narsil, does he feel the resonance of ancient battles? Does he sense the hopes and fears of generations past whispering through the broken steel? But the story of Narsil does not end with its breaking. As the prophecy states, renewed shall be blade that was broken. The reforging of Narsil into Andúril, the flame of the West, is more than a mere repair. It is a rebirth, a transformation that mirrors Aragorn's own journey from hidden heir to king. This act of renewal imbues the sword with a renewed sense of purpose and destiny, making it a symbol not just of past glories but of future hope. Andúril is no mere weapon in Aragorn's hands. It is the physical manifestation of his acceptance of his role as leader of the free peoples of Middle-earth. With each swing, he carries the legacy of the kings of old and the weighty responsibility of Isildur's bloodline. Can you feel the anticipation building as we approach Aragorn's first use of this reforged blade in battle? When that moment finally arrives, particularly during the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, it is nothing short of extraordinary. The sight of Andúril gleaming in Aragorn's grasp becomes a rallying point, a beacon of hope in the darkness of war. It is here that we truly see the power Aragorn has inherited through this ancient heirloom, not just the physical might of a finely crafted sword, but the ability to inspire, to lead, and to turn the tide of history. When that moment finally arrives, particularly during the Battle of the Pelennor Fields, it is nothing short of extraordinary. The sight of Andúril gleaming in Aragorn's grasp becomes a rallying point, a beacon of hope in the darkness of war. It is here that we truly see the power Aragorn has inherited through this ancient heirloom, not just the physical might of a finely crafted sword, but the ability to inspire, to lead, and to turn the tide of history. But what challenges await as Aragorn steps into the wild, bearing the weight of this newfound legacy? How will the lessons learned in Rivendell and the power inherited through Andúril shape his path forward? Join us in our next chapter as we follow Aragorn's journey from the sheltered valleys of the elves into the vast, dangerous world beyond. As we venture beyond the sheltered valleys of Rivendell, a profound transformation awaits. What forges a king in the crucible of the wild? The answer lies in a tale of isolation, danger, and unexpected alliances that would shape the future of Middle-earth. Imagine Aragorn, newly burdened with the knowledge of his heritage, stepping out from the protective embrace of Elrond's realm. The decision to leave Rivendell and join the Rangers of the North was not made lightly. It marked the beginning of a journey that would test every lesson learned in his youth and forge him into the leader Middle-earth desperately needed. Life among the Dunedain was a stark contrast to the ethereal beauty of the last homely house. These grim-faced wanderers, shunned by those they protected, faced constant peril in their tireless vigil against the encroaching darkness. Aragorn, now known as Strider or the Dunedain, quickly learned the harsh realities of life in the wild. Every shadow concealed potential threats, every rustling leaf a possible harbinger of danger. But it was in this unforgiving landscape that Aragorn truly came into his own. The skills honed in Rivendell, tracking, healing, and lore, found practical application in the ceaseless struggle against Sauron's minions. With each passing year, the once sheltered youth grew in wisdom and strength, earning the respect and loyalty of his fellow rangers. As Aragorn's reputation grew, so too did the scope of his journeys. He ventured into the very heart of Mordor, traversed the dark depths of Moria, and even travelled as far as the distant lands of Harad. Each expedition not only honed his skills, but also deepened his understanding of the diverse peoples and cultures of Middle-earth, knowledge that would prove invaluable in his future role as king. It was during these wandering years that Aragorn forged one of his most crucial alliances. In 2956 of the Third Age, he encountered Gandalf the Grey, marking the beginning of a friendship that would alter the course of history. The wisdom of the Istari complemented Aragorn's growing experience, and together they undertook many perilous missions in defense of the free peoples. Perhaps one of the most intriguing chapters of Aragorn's time in the wild was his service to Gondor under the alias Thorn-Gil. Can you picture the heir of Isildur walking unrecognized through the very streets he was destined to rule? During this period, Aragorn not only proved his worth as a military tactician, but also gained invaluable insights into the realm he would one day lead. His successful campaign against the Corsairs of Umbar demonstrated both his strategic acumen and his ability to inspire those under his command. Yet for all his accomplishments, Aragorn's years as a ranger exacted a heavy toll. The constant vigilance, the weight of his secret identity, and the seemingly endless struggle against evil left their mark. As Tolkien described, he became somewhat grim to look upon, a testament to the hardships he had endured. But those who looked closely could still see a light in his eyes, a spark of hope that even the darkest days could not extinguish. As we near the end of this chapter in Aragorn's life, we find him transformed. No longer the sheltered youth of Rivendell, he has become a leader of men, respected by the wise and feared by the servants of the enemy. The trials of the wild have tempered his resolve and sharpened his skills, preparing him for the monumental challenges that lie ahead. But what pivotal moment awaits that will call upon all Aragorn has learned and experienced? As we leave him, hardened by years in the wilderness yet unbowed, a new chapter in his journey beckons. The stage is set for a fateful encounter in the golden woods of Lothlorien, one that will test not just his strength and wisdom, but the very essence of his heart. Our journey through the enchanted realms continues, and today we witness a love story that will echo through the ages. In the heart of Lothlorien, where time itself seems to slow, a choice awaits that will alter the very fate of Middle-earth. As we step into the golden woods, we bear witness to a tale of sacrifice, destiny, and a love that defies the very laws of nature. Let us first turn our gaze to Arwen Undomiel, the Evenstar of her people. Daughter of Elrond Half-Elven and granddaughter of Galadriel, Arwen's beauty and grace are legendary even among the Eldar. But it's not merely her outward appearance that captures the heart of Aragorn. In Arwen, we see the living embodiment of the ancient tales, a direct link to the elder days of Middle-earth. Can you imagine the awe Aragorn must have felt when he first laid eyes upon her, mistaking her for Luthien herself? Yet their love was not destined for an easy path. The union of mortal and immortal is a rare and often tragic occurrence in the history of Middle-earth. Elrond, having already lost his brother Elros to the choice of mortality, views this budding romance with trepidation and sorrow. How could a father willingly send his only daughter down a path that would separate them for all eternity? It is in the year 2980 of the Third Age that our star-crossed lovers reunite in the realm of Lorien. Picture, if you will, the golden melon trees swaying gently in the breeze, their leaves a cascade of gold in the fading light. It is here, upon the hill of Cerinamroth, that Aragorn and Arwen pledge their troth. The air itself seems to hold its breath as these two souls, separated by the vast gulf of mortality and immortality, choose to forge a bond that will challenge the very foundations of their world. But what of Arwen's choice? For in accepting Aragorn's love, she must also accept the gift of men, mortality itself. Can we truly comprehend the weight of such a decision? to turn away from the immortal lands of her people, to embrace a fleeting life with all its joys and sorrows. In this moment, Arwen reflects the tale of her foremother Luthien, choosing love over the ageless life of the Eldar. As Aragorn stands upon Carin Amroth, the mantle of his destiny settles more firmly upon his shoulders. For Elrond has decreed that Arwen shall marry no lesser man than the king of both Gondor and Arnor. In accepting Arwen's love, Aragorn also accepts the monumental task of reclaiming his birthright and uniting the sundered kingdoms of men. How might this promise shape his path in the years to come? The impact of this love on Aragorn's quest cannot be overstated. In Arwen he finds not only companionship and affection, but a living symbol of all that he strives to protect and preserve in Middle-earth. Her sacrifice becomes a source of strength, a reminder of what is at stake should he fail in his duty. With each step of his journey, from the wilds of Eriador to the very slopes of Mount Doom, the thought of Arwen serves as a beacon of hope in the gathering darkness. As we draw this chapter to a close, we find Aragorn forever changed by the love of the Evenstar. No longer is he simply the heir of kings or the chieftain of the Dúnedain. He has become the promise of a new age, a bridge between the fading glory of the Eldar and the rising dominion of men. But what trials await our hero as the shadow in the east grows ever longer? How will the strength forged in the golden woods of Lorien be tested in the fires of the coming war? The stage is set for Aragorn to step fully into his role as the protector of Middle-earth, with the love of Arwen Undomiel as his guiding light. Picture this: a ragtag group of hobbits far from home huddle in a corner of the prancing pony. Across the room, a mysterious figure watches from beneath a hood. Who is this Strider, and why does his very presence seem to unsettle those around him? The truth behind this ranger's identity will shake the foundations of Middle-earth. As the shadow in the east grows longer, Aragorn finds himself caught between two worlds. The heir to the throne of Gondor must now shroud himself in secrecy, forsaking the trappings of royalty for the weathered cloak of a ranger. But why? The answer lies in the growing threat of Sauron, whose servants tirelessly seek any trace of Isildur's heir. Aragorn's transformation into Strider is a masterclass in self-sacrifice and strategy. He walks a razor's edge, protecting the very people who view him with suspicion and mistrust. Can you imagine the weight of this burden? To be the last hope of your people, yet unable to reveal your true identity. It is in this guise that Aragorn first encounters Frodo and his companions at the Prancing Pony. Tolkien describes him as a strange-looking, weather-beaten man whose gaze seems to pierce through the hobbits. In this moment we see the duality of Aragorn's nature, both protector and enigma, a figure of both comfort and unease. As Strider interacts with the hobbits, we gain precious insights into his character. His knowledge of the wider world and the dangers that lurk within it is evident, yet he tempers this with a gentle patience towards his charges. When he says, "If I had killed the real Strider, I could kill you, and I should have killed you already without so much talk," we glimpse the steel beneath the ranger's rough exterior. But it is not just strength that Aragorn reveals in these interactions. We see wisdom, compassion, and a deep understanding of the burdens others carry. His ability to earn the trust of the hobbits, despite their initial misgivings, speaks volumes about his leadership qualities. These are the traits that will serve him well in the trials to come. As we journey with Strider and the hobbits towards Rivendell, the tension builds. How long can Aragorn maintain this deception? When will his true identity be revealed? The answer comes at the Council of Elrond, where Strider at last steps into the light as Aragorn, son of Arathorn, heir of Isildur. This moment of revelation is a turning point not just for Aragorn, but for all of Middle-earth. The scattered pieces of the puzzle begin to fall into place, and we see the carefully laid plans of the wise coming to fruition. Aragorn's emergence from the shadows signals the beginning of the end for Sauron's dominion. As our tale of the mysterious guide draws to a close, we find Aragorn poised on the brink of his greatest challenge yet. No longer hidden in the wilds, he must now step forward as a leader of men, elves and dwarves alike. The skills honed in his years as strider, patience, cunning and unwavering courage will be put to the ultimate test. What trials await Aragorn as he joins the Fellowship of the Ring? How will the lessons learned in the shadows shape his path towards kingship? As we look ahead to the next chapter in our hero's journey, one thing is certain. The road from Ranger to King will be fraught with danger, sacrifice, and the promise of a new dawn for Middle-earth. As the road from Ranger to King grows ever more perilous, we arrive at a moment that will test Aragorn's resolve like never before. The Paths of the Dead, a name that sends shivers down the spines of even the bravest warriors. What desperate circumstances would drive the heir of Isildur to walk this cursed road? The legend of the Oathbreakers stretches back to the dark days of the Last Alliance. These were the men of the mountains who swore allegiance to Isildur in his war against Sauron. But when the time came to honor their oath, fear gripped their hearts and they fled back to their mountain strongholds. Isildur's curse rang out, condemning them to an eternity of unrest until they fulfilled their broken promise. For centuries, the Paths of the Dead remained a place of dread and whispered warnings. Now, as Gondor teeters on the brink of destruction, Aragorn faces an impossible choice. The beacons of Gondor are lit, calling for aid, but time is running short. The armies of Rohan will not arrive swiftly enough to turn the tide. It is in this moment of desperation that Aragorn recalls the words of Elrond. The paths of the dead I summon you to, the oath ye shall keep. Can you imagine the weight of this decision to venture into a realm where no living man dares to tread, risking not just life, but very soul on the slim hope of awakening an ancient cursed army? Yet Aragorn knows that without this gambit, Gondor may fall before he can even reach its white towers. With heavy hearts, Aragorn leads Legolas, Gimli and the Dunedain Rangers into the yawning mouth of the haunted mountain. The air grows thick and cloying as they penetrate deeper into the passage. Whispers echo off the stone walls, and the very ground seems to pulse with an otherworldly energy. Each step takes them further from the world of the living and deeper into a realm where the laws of nature hold no sway. At last, they reach the Stone of Eric, an ancient artifact brought from Númenor itself. It is here, in this place of power, that Aragorn must summon the dead to fulfill their oath. Can you picture the scene? The air shimmers with spectral forms, the whispers rising to a deafening cacophony as Aragorn stands tall, Andúril gleaming in his hand. With a voice that rings with the authority of his ancestors, Aragorn calls out to the dead, "Oathbreakers, why have ye come?" "To fulfill our oath and have peace," comes the chilling reply. Imagine standing before the gates of a besieged city, knowing that behind those walls lies your destiny and the fate of all Middle-earth. For Aragorn, son of Arathorn, this moment isn't just about claiming a crown. It's about becoming the beacon of hope an entire world desperately needs. As Aragorn approaches Minas Tirith, the White City stands on the brink of ruin. The forces of Mordor have breached the outer walls, and despair grips the hearts of its defenders. Can you picture the scene? Smoke rising from burning buildings, the air thick with the cries of the wounded and the clash of steel. It is into this maelstrom that Aragorn must step, not just as a warrior, but as the rightful king. Yet, even in this dire hour, Aragorn faces an internal struggle. The throne of Gondor has stood empty for centuries, ruled by the line of stewards. To claim it now, in the midst of battle, could be seen as an act of opportunism rather than rightful succession. How does one balance the urgent need for leadership with the delicate politics of a realm long without a king? It is in the Houses of Healing that Aragorn truly begins to prove his worth to the people of Gondor. Remember the ancient law: The hands of the king are the hands of a healer, and so shall the rightful king be known. As Aragorn tends to the wounded using his knowledge of elvish medicine, we see the fulfillment of prophecy before our very eyes. Faramir, Éowyn and Merry, each touched by the Black Breath, are drawn back from the brink of death by Aragorn's healing hands. Word of these miraculous healings spreads through the city like wildfire. Can you imagine the whispers in the streets, the growing sense of wonder and hope? The king has returned, they say, and he brings life where there was only death. It is a powerful moment, one that begins to shift the tide of public opinion in Aragorn's favor. Yet Aragorn does not immediately seize the crown. Instead, he continues to lead from the shadows, allowing the people of Gondor to come to terms with his presence and his lineage. It is a display of wisdom and patience that speaks volumes about Aragorn's character and his understanding of the delicate balance of power in Gondor. As the final battles of the War of the Ring unfold, Aragorn's leadership becomes ever more apparent. He stands as a rallying point for the forces of the West, his very presence inspiring courage in those who fight alongside him. With each passing day, the people of Gondor come to see him not as an outsider or usurper, but as the king they have long awaited. Finally, on May 1st of the year 3019 of the Third Age, the day of coronation arrives. Picture the scene. The white banners of the stewards giving way to the black and silver of the king, the ancient crown of Gondor gleaming in the sunlight. As Gandalf places the winged crown upon Aragorn's brow, a hush falls over the gathered crowd. Then as one they cry out, "Behold the king!" In this moment, centuries of exile come to an end. Aragorn, now King Elessar, stands as the living embodiment of Gondor's renewal. But his coronation signifies more than just the return of the king. It marks the reunification of the sundered realms of Gondor and Arna, the fulfillment of an ancient hope. As our tale of Aragorn's ascension draws to a close, we stand at the dawn of a new age for Middle-earth. The shadow has passed and a time of peace and prosperity beckons. But what challenges await this newly crowned king? How will Aragorn navigate the complex task of rebuilding a realm long divided? Join us in our next chapter as we explore the reign of King Elessar and the lasting impact of his rule on the world of Middle-earth. The coronation fanfare fades and King Elessar faces a realm in need of healing, but amidst the joy of victory a bittersweet truth lingers. Could Aragorn's greatest triumph also mark the beginning of an inevitable decline? Greetings, fellow explorers of Middle-earth. May Gavanen. As we delve into the final chapter of Aragorn's tale, we encounter a profound concept that shaped not only his reign, but the very essence of Tolkien's mythology, the long defeat. This ancient wisdom passed down through generations of elves speaks to the gradual fading of beauty and power in the world, even as great deeds are accomplished. For Aragorn, newly crowned as King Elessar, this philosophy presents a unique challenge. How does one rule a kingdom knowing that no matter how glorious its achievements, it is destined to diminish? The answer lies in Aragorn's profound understanding of his role, not just as a king, but as a steward of Middle-earth's legacy. As Aragorn sets about the monumental task of rebuilding his realm, we see him applying the wisdom gleaned from his years among the elves and his own experiences as a ranger. The reunited kingdom of Gondor and Arnor flourishes under his rule, with the white tree blooming once more in the court of the fountain. Yet even as he oversees this renewal, Aragorn remains acutely aware of the changing nature of Middle-earth. One of the most remarkable aspects of Aragorn's reign is his dedication to fostering peace and understanding between the various races of Middle-earth. Can you imagine the diplomatic skill required to navigate the complex relationships between men, elves, dwarves, and even hobbits? Aragorn's efforts in this regard are nothing short of extraordinary, drawing on his unique experiences and connections forged during the War of the Ring. As the years pass, we see Aragorn's wisdom and foresight coming to the fore. He rules with a gentle hand, understanding that the age of men requires a different approach than the ages that came before. His decisions are guided not by a desire for personal glory, but by a deep commitment to preserving the best of what has come before while preparing for an uncertain future. But even as Gondor prospers under Aragorn's rule, the shadow of mortality looms. For in accepting the love of Arwen and the crown of Gondor, Aragorn has also embraced the gift of men, death itself. As his reign nears its end, we find Aragorn facing perhaps his greatest challenge, accepting the natural conclusion of his life with grace and dignity. In a moment that echoes through the ages, Aragorn chooses to lay down his life while still in full possession of his faculties. Can you picture the scene? The great king, still hale and wise, bidding farewell to his loved ones and his people. It is a powerful testament to Aragorn's acceptance of the natural order of things and his understanding that even the greatest of men must eventually pass on. As Aragorn takes his final rest in the House of the Kings, we are left to contemplate his enduring legacy. The reunited kingdom he leaves behind stands as a beacon of hope and strength in the Fourth Age of Middle-earth. Yet even as we celebrate his achievements, we are reminded of the bittersweet nature of the long defeat, for with Aragorn's passing, another link to the elder days fades from the world. But perhaps this too is part of the greater plan. As our journey through the enchanted realms of Middle-earth comes to a close, we are left with a profound appreciation for the cyclic nature of history. Aragorn's reign marks both an end and a beginning, the twilight of one age and the dawn of another. In embracing both victory and defeat, both life and death, Aragorn embodies the very essence of what it means to be human in Tolkien's grand tapestry of Middle-earth. As our journey through the enchanted realms comes to a close, we find ourselves reflecting on the extraordinary tale of Aragorn, son of Arathorn. From hidden heir to legendary king, his path embodies the very essence of Tolkien's world, a testament to the enduring power of hope in the face of seemingly insurmountable odds. Aragorn's story reminds us that destiny, while a powerful force, is not a predetermined path, but a call to action. Through sacrifice and unwavering courage, he transformed from the mysterious Strider into Elessar, the beacon of hope for all free peoples of Middle-earth. His reign ushered in an era of peace and renewal, yet even in triumph, Aragorn understood the bittersweet nature of victory in a changing world. As Tolkien wrote, "For not we, but those who come after will make the legends of our time." In Aragorn, we see the truth of these words, a leader whose legacy would shape the very fabric of Middle-earth for ages to come. His tale serves as a reminder that even in the darkest of times, hope remains as long as there are those willing to bear its light.